Okay, it's Tom here. I wanted to talk about this thing called proof of weak hands. Okay, now what is this? First of all, if you mention this or you research this online, you're going to be calling this a scheme and another BitConnect. Now I'm going to talk a little bit on why I don't think it's either. Okay, it does have certain qualities, but it's not the same. Okay, first of all, let's quickly just talk about BitConnect. BitConnect was a centralized scheme, right? They called it a lending platform. They talked about there being some sort of trading, Bitcoin trading or crypto trading going on, and people who were in the system would get a cut of that in the form of like dividends or something, payback. And then there'd also be referrals for, building teams within, referring people to the system. But that thing was centralized. Anybody running it could run an exit scam, run away with the money. It's easier for authorities to clamp down on it. It's a centralized thing, right? So, and it definitely was. I mean, there was no trading going on. It was strictly a Ponzi. Okay. Now there you look at this thing here. This thing here is amazing in a way. All right. At first, I bought into that reasoning about this system right here. Now, let me just real quick. You gotta look into this. Okay. This, they call it an exchange. It's not an exchange in the traditional sense, but it's actually a smart contract dapp on the Ethereum blockchain, right? They've created their own ERC20 token, okay? And what you basically do is you use Ethereum, not Bitcoin. You use Ethereum to buy into this. Your Ethereum is basically translated into this token, this ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain, okay? This whole thing is run by a smart contract. It's not centralized in any person's hand or people's hands, okay? It's a smart contract. It's a computer. It's code. Code is actually enforcing the terms of the contract, okay? And what this thing is think about the name, proof of weak hands. How do you normally get a proof in a like say with Bitcoin, right? How do you mine Bitcoin or any other coin that's mineable? You basically, there's transactions on the network, and the miners basically validate those transactions, and the mining fee, you get some coinage in return. That's the incentive to do the mining, to authenticate the transactions, right? So you have that. Now, what's another way to mine? Think about it. Especially, you have a lot of people out there called weak hands. Who are the weak hands? The weak hands are the people who panic and dump their coins, right? Sell them at a loss, whatever. They sell them, they get out, they panic. They're weak hands. They can't hold on to their stuff because they're weaklings. They're panic sellers, right? And that usually affects the price of the coin, brings the coins down, like we're seeing now in a crypto bear market. When this is being recorded, we've been in an extended crypto bear market for several months now. Very frustrating for those of us who aren't weak hands. Now, you have this thing here, which is really, you really have to think about it and grasp how amazing this concept is, right? The way this works is you buy into the system with Ethereum, okay? You get your P3 tokens, right? And this is a real ERC20 token. Now, when you buy into it, immediately 10% gets cut off as a tax. Now, think about this. It goes into the system, and it gets distributed among the members, right, as dividends. Now, when you have your tokens in the system, as long as you hold the tokens, you get a cut of all of these fees and earnings within the system on an hourly or whatever basis, on a regular basis. It's not just paid out daily. And then if you sell your tokens, you also pay a 10% penalty, right? So if you're a weak hand, you pay a 10% penalty, which also gets distributed amongst the members, the membership, okay? So you're protected from weak hands. By being a holder, a hodler, whatever, you're actually mining the weak hands. Think about that, okay? Your dividends are paid out in Ethereum. You can collect those. There's no tax on your dividends. If you reinvest your dividend, you also pay the 10% into the system. So buying and selling gets the 10% fee, but as long as there's lots of volatility and transactions within the network, there's a big return, okay? And that's how it works. It's pretty popular, and it's gaining a lot. I mean, you can look at the whatchamacallit, the stats on this, and it's running wild. Now, are there risks? Of course, there's risks with everything. There's no system that anybody can create that's perfect, okay? This smart contract and dapp its code has been audited by certified Solidity developers for weak spots. There were several incarnations of this that were released before this version, which they did not have they didn't follow the proper hardening procedures, and it was hacked, and Ethereum was stolen out of the system. So that's one of the main risks, is that Ethereum can be stolen out of the system by hackers. So this thing's been audited. They also ran test nets with it using simulated Ethereum, lots of it, to make sure that this thing was ready to go prime time. So it's been tested, and also from what I hear, the hack attempts are going on daily. There's hackers trying to get this thing because, of course, they want to steal the Ethereum out of it. So if they ever were successful, that could drain the system. You are protected from panic selling, though, because if a bunch of users panic sell, the people who are still in the system, all those 10% of all of that is distributed amongst the membership. It's kind of like, if you look at a lot of their logos online, you see a lot of pyramids. They're kind of playing off that, okay? The whole pyramid scheme thing. But they're using it to their advantage. But it's actually as if you take two pyramids and you invert one, and you put the 2 points of the pyramids together like an hourglass. You're protected on both ends. Users on both ends of the system make out in this. It's not just the people at the top of the pyramid or whatever, the people who get in first, as with a pyramid scheme. It really is brilliant. Now, it's no one knows how long this is going to go. It's an experiment. There are people who are putting in, anything from a few dollars worth of Ethereum to, several Ethereum to several $1,000s worth of Ethereum. I've read of one user who has $100,000 of Ethereum in this thing, and he's pulling in like $10,000. I don't know if it's a day or a week, something like that. It's like $10,000 a day. Now nobody can guarantee returns. Returns are based on volatility, so nobody is supposed to go around and guaranteeing returns on this kind of thing. It's not an investment, okay? So that's the whole thing. A lot of these things get nailed by government authorities because people go around advertising it as an investment opportunity, and then it becomes an unregulated security. That's not really what this is. Governments are going to define things their way no matter what, right? If they're going to call Bitcoin mining a security because it's generating some sort of income based on some sort of a commodity, they're going to call it what they call it, okay? But this is not like buying a stock or a mutual fund or anything like that. So no one should speak about it as such. Now, the comparisons are going to be made to other things. This thing, as far as we know, can't really result in an exit scam type of a thing like BitConnect was. So in their shill kit, the advertising icons and everything, they even have a Carlos Matos graphic. I mean, they're playing on the memes and everything with this stuff. They're having a lot of fun with it. So anyway, I do have a link I do have a link. My phone shut off while I was talking. I do have a link below for you to examine it if you want, and just examine it. There's like 30% referral on this thing for using. If you buy into as a certain amount and it's not a high amount, you get a masternode link, and you can build your masternode and refer people to the system. And it's like 30% of what they get, you get in Ethereum. I mean, this is a lucrative thing, possibly. It's actually adding a lot of excitement back into crypto during this bear market. I mean, right now in the bear market, I got to tell you, I mean, it gets depressing every day. Why? You know it's going to come back. You believe it's going to come back stronger than ever, probably. They got a big conference coming up in mid-May 2018 in New York City that could spark a new bull run. Who knows? But for now, it's been kind of in the doldrums. And then even my trading bot is just, it's crappy right now because, like, you know, one minute you're executing lots of trades and skimming the cream off the top, and then the next minute there's another mini crash or crash, whatever, and then all of a sudden you're holding a bunch of DCA bags of coins and you're waiting until the market rebounds a certain amount just to get your money back. And you're not making a lot of profit per trade with a bot, but when you got a lot of your balance tied up in these bags, that's also kind of depressing. So this thing here is actually a great way to offset the downtrend, and who knows how it'll perform in a bull market, you know, because this token gains value based on, I mean, it's going to gain value, and you know, it alone can be worth a lot, but you can sell it off into Ethereum just as well. So anyway, you should give this a look-see and see what you think. And honestly, I was never. I know of people who made big money in BitConnect because they got in early and they got out before it hit the skids. You know, the people who don't make out or who get greedy and don't pull out in time are always going to cry scam. That thing was kind of scammy. I was never tempted to go into it. But this one here, I first thought so, and I looked into it and I said, wow, this thing is different. Now, it can fail, it can blow up. There's risk involved with everything. But just don't throw anything at it that you can't afford to lose, and have fun with it. That's my motto. And you might just make a ton in return. I mean, nothing ventured, nothing gained. So give this thing a look-see because it really is amazing. And there's a lot of comedy built into it. So these guys really are onto something here, I think. So see you later. Thanks for listening.